Hi, I'm Michael Subin, representing the Montgomery County Commission on Veterans Affairs. Thanks for joining us for this edition of Homefront on County Cable Montgomery. Homefront is dedicated to looking at the stories of active duty personnel and veterans. Today's Homefront will focus on women veterans issues. Recent conflicts have borne witness to the record participation of women in the armed forces of the United States. Consequently, we are seeing record numbers of women veterans. While they face the same general issues as men, they also face additional issues unique to women. However, the infrastructure necessary to address those needs is far from complete. My guests today are Dr. Cynthia Macri, Captain, Medical Corps, United States Navy retired, and Ms. Jamila Johnson, an Army veteran who is disabled. They are two individuals eminently qualified to address those issues and explore methods to address them. We'll be exploring what those issues are, the gaps, what is being done to address them. Thank you both for sharing your time and expertise with us. I ask you both to give some highlights of your careers.
Sure.
Dr. Macri.
Sure, thank you, Mike. So I was commissioned into the United States Navy in 1979 and retired in 2014. So you can see that
I've been there longer
spanned
than
a
you.
lot of time. But we've seen a lot of changes in the active duty side. So as we transition out into the civilian sector, there's a little bit of a delay in recognition of the role that women played in the armed forces. So I was a medical officer, so board certified in gynecologic oncology, which is women's cancer surgery, and served also as a vice president of the Uniformed Services University, the America's Medical School, right here in Bethesda, and also was tapped to be the special assistant for diversity to the Chief of Naval Operations. But after I retired, was recalled for another year of active duty to advise the 21st Century Sailor Office, which really focuses on some of those crucial behavioral and mental health issues, sort of things that make, degrade, I guess, unit cohesiveness and productivity. So
now you were just commissioned to sit on a very prestigious national commission, weren't you?
Yes, sir. I was appointed by the Secretary McDonough to serve as on the advisory committee for women veterans. So that meets at least twice a year. And this next upcoming meeting is going to be virtual, and we're there to advise the Secretary on women's issues.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jamila, your turn.
Yeah, so my name is Jamila Johnson, and I served as a patient administrative specialist in the U.S. Army. I was stationed actually in two places, and I had ovarian cancer. And my doctor, part of my team, is Dr. Macri. And she helped, to be honest with you, save my life, with her team and the way that they did the health care. So I really appreciate that. And from there, I did pursue several degrees. I have a master's in public health, a master's in healthcare administration, and right now I'm working on a Juris Master's specialization in health law to better advocate for women. For women. So I'm also a consultant with American University Consultant for Health Information. And I currently work at the Department of Health and Human Services as their medical records manager.
And not coincidentally, you're both commissioners on the Commission on Veterans Affairs.
Absolutely.
And incredibly beneficial members.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Adding a lot. As you both know, I am controversy averse. So please restrain yourselves in terms of your reactions to the next question. And this is a quote, it's not me, but I want to hear your reactions. I recently read the following comment. Women veterans take up space and clog the VA system, so actual combat vets can't get the help they need. Unquote. Cynthia.
So, my obvious reaction to that is kind of, bordering on outrage, but you know, I just want everybody to remember the great majority of veterans actually did not, and current active duty, are not serving in combat. We still filled every single base on the mainland and other places during World War II or the Vietnam War. So it's actually, there's more men who didn't serve in combat clogging up the VA system and taking time and space away from those combat veterans.
I'm not clogging up the system.
Yes. Yeah, agreed. You know, I think everybody served. You know, we're not clogging up anything. You know, everybody has an important role within the military. So, you know, we're still, you know, it's not as many men as it is women in the military.
Yeah, it's surprising. People just don't understand.
Yeah.
It's only about 10%.
Yep, that's exactly right.
That go into combat.
Agreed.
And, you know, it's the logistics and the maintenance and the medical personnel that really make that system work.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
You know, you can't fight a war without bullets
Yeah.
or petroleum. And God only knows we need those doctors and nurses all the time.
Exactly. Agreed.
Do you both feel there's an overall appreciation for the role that women in the military play as a follow-up to that?
Well, you know, the VA motto, right, that's on the wall of the building, basically, and everywhere you look is pretty male-centric, right? So I'm not sure if the VA appreciates the role that women play. I mean, look at it, they basically say, for him who served, or shall have borne, whatever, and it's for his widow and orphan, right? So, you know, where do women come in, right? It's hard to change.
So that they who serve and for them would be more appropriate.
I think so. I mean, that's just for starters, right? But yeah.
And for me, to be honest with you, I feel like, I know when I joined in 1991, and there was, you know, in terms of women's health and women's needs, it was not addressed. You know, it was, you know, nothing was addressed in terms of our health care, in terms of, you know, different aspects of child care, you know, things like that. You know, just dealing with the stresses of being, I'm married to somebody else in the military,
Yep,
so dealing with, you know, marriage and
Right.
kids and
Yep.
the stresses with that, and also being a soldier. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was commissioned in 1971, senior to you, Captain.
Just a little bit,
Just
sir.
a little bit, just a little bit. And there were 0
Yeah,
females
exactly.
in my OCS class.
Yeah.
Now I go to Navy football games, and they have the march on of the brigade before the
Yes.
game, and it is amazing to see. It almost looks like 50% of the brigade are women.
Yeah. And we're serving, you know, in the same, it's actually still about a third. It's not as much as in the civilian, many civilian institutions. However, you know, women are allowed to serve almost everywhere that men are allowed to serve, you know, without a decrement in the qualifications. And I want to stress that we, I mean, are being held to the same standards by not only ourselves, our peers, and our leadership. So,
Jamila?
Absolutely. And absolutely, we have our rucksacks, we're running, we're doing the same thing as men, and we're qualified, you know, sharpshooters, so we can do the same. You know,
You
we
make
can do
people
the
like
same.
me look bad. You know, what I'd like to point out also is, as you know, that brigade is marching on, there are females that are company officers,
Yep.
females that are battalion officers, and there have been a couple of years where they have been the brigade commanders.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, what would y'all identify as the unique needs of women veterans? And are you satisfied with the level of services they're getting?
So, do you want me to start?
Yeah, you can start.
Okay.
Yeah. We had a great conversation today.
We have had some discussion about this.
Yes.
There are unique needs that for that women that are not being, I think, recognized. So I think you can address needs if you recognize that they exist. So one of the things that I think that, and Jamila was mentioning about the rucksack. So the percentage of body weight of a rucksack for me is going to be different from a 6 foot, 200-pound guy, right? So I'm going to suffer some different maybe after effects. And so what I think we need is culturally proficient care. So not just being a triage doctor to say, oh, well, you need to go here or you need to go there. I need somebody that's going to listen and hear what I have to say. And what we, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on TV, but what we really need is we need for the VA to recognize that because of what we did in the military and because of potentially childbirth, there are a lot of issues with pelvic floor dysfunction. Yeah. So that's not something that the average primary care doctor has spent a lot of time, working on. So pelvic floor dysfunction is a major gap that does need to be addressed. So what I'm seeing is that in terms of disability ratings, for example, men tend to be overrated and women underrated because the needs are not addressed. And that tells us, it communicates to us what the value of our service is.
Jamila?
Yeah, agreed. So from my, and I'll say this on the air, so from my personal standpoint, I had stage 3 ovarian cancer. I was immediately rated 60%. And my counterpart had erectile dysfunction, and he was immediately rated 100%. Yeah, exactly. So there's some disparity, in that. But I think in terms of women's care, not everything should be cookie cutter, like one size fits all. We're unique, there are unique needs in different phases. At my 30s, my body was one way. At 40s, it's one way. I just turned 50, it's one way. And then so on, and so on. And so, we need different things. I mean, different, even social things, even how to interact, with, changing with the kids, the husband, just different things in life. So, and not, just, oh, okay, everybody goes to women's health and that's good to go. There's different aspects. And, another thing is like getting specialists. You need, nothing against anybody that's family medicine, but you need an oncologist. You need, someone specialized in GYN, not just internal medicine or family doctors in the women's health clinic. So I find that also an issue.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also not just for my own care, but I would like for women to get that type of care as well. As a gynecologist, that's what I need. Right. I would like women to have that option.
Cynthia, it's interesting. You brought up the issue of cultural awareness.
Yes.
And Dr. Van Coots, who's the CEO of the Holy Cross system, has a video. It's on the CVA website, where that is what he brings up, the issue of cultural awareness. Not unique to male or female, but that the staff, the triage folks should be asking, are you a veteran? Because that then kicks off a different set of questions and inquiries.
Yeah.
What are some of the most significant gaps in service that women are facing?
So, I was watching TV back when I had a TV. I was watching TV, and one of the things that was a VA advertisement, and it said, we have women's health in every, in a large number of military VA facilities. And that includes a primary care women's health provider, which is not necessarily a academically, gynecologist, OBGYN, and a mental health specialist. As though all of us need mental health specialists. Now maybe we do, but I think that one of the things that we have discussed at some length is the fact that there is a global shortage of well-trained, certified mental health professionals. So whether it's a psychiatrist or a clinical psychologist or a therapist that's not working on the fringes, there's just a global shortage. And so, there's a need for us to maybe fill that gap. Like, let's look inside of ourselves and see what it is that we have, because we're with ourselves. And I'll let Jamila talk about this. You know, when I go home from the doctor, I'm by myself. I'm my own doctor. I'm taking care of myself, and everything that I need, I have to provide. Where is the help with those tools, right? Where can I learn that? So
yeah. So what we went through a chronic pain, I guess you could say, webinar, webinar event, and it was so enlightening. So I was able to, just with people, basically, she was the only one that I knew, I was basically to help figure things out and kind of heal myself. And it was like, okay, what tools do I have? What do I feel comfortable with? And setting these parameters, for instance, something like my art studio. Okay, I was feeling overwhelmed, to clean up the whole thing. But you know what I did? I said little chunks of time. I have 30 minutes a day, I will clean this up. And I had accountability with the people online, and it was very, very enlightening. They gave me different, I felt empowered. I felt like I had power over my pain, over, things that I thought was important, to me.
It's interesting, Cynthia, that you bring up the issue of mental health. Our colleague Wayne Miller, who's chair of the commission,
yes,
runs the Silver Spring Vet Center, and all they do is treat folks with PTSD. And of course, I've been down there a lot, and I don't think I have ever seen a female as a patient in there.
Wow.
That was something I'm gonna have to check with Wayne.
Wow. And I wanted to say something. Sometimes when we see certain physicians, we they're, some are, not all, dismissive. Not actively listening, just like, okay, here you go, here's a prescription. Not being present, or trying to tell us what we need versus for me to inform the doctor. So, that could be it too, and just feeling comfortable,
The other thing, Mike, that I have noticed, so I'm a data evangelist now because I work in big data analytics, and it's healthcare analytics, right? So one of the things that I've seen over and over and over again, including our general military instruction, right? Our GMT, you and I did the same stuff, right? And yet our careers were completely different, but we had to check that box. So the way that a lot of the metrics I see are basically, did I deliver this service? Or like, maybe, did I ask the question, are you a veteran? Which, we refer if people say, have you ever served? Because in the uniformed services, because again, sometimes we're dismissed for not having been in combat. But those metrics are the ones that are easy to measure, right? And so that's why we use them. And I hear about, other than the Million Veteran study, right? I hear over and over again how we got this big data set, but they're actually asking the same stuff. So what we now need is we need to take those big data sets, and the technology is available, and we need to analyze that data. So we don't need more data. We need to have better data analytics for the data that we have.
I'd like to circle back to the issue of that quote that we started out with.
Yeah.
When I was stationed on a ship and was a beach master and assault craft unit CO, and CO of a unit that was reserved for a DDG, no women.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And now you look today, you have women who are COs of attack submarines, boomers,
pilots,
they're fighter pilots.
Fighter pilots, yeah.
They're astronauts.
Yeah.
Astronauts.
Right, yeah.
So, it's good to see that has all changed. And I guess there's somebody out there who has no awareness of what's...
Well, the surface Navy has been way more welcoming. It's bigger. There's more jobs, right? I don't think women have reached the CO position on in the submarine service
No,
yet because
good.
of the number of years, right? I mean, it hasn't been enough years, but it's 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 coming, and we've proven ourselves time and again. But one of the things that we have to remember, and this is one of the stressors that we need to be cognizant of in a culturally proficient setting or VA, and that is that that many times there's a spotlight on women, and I want to mention this too, women and minorities in general. So if we fail, then we're failing for our whole gender or our whole class or our whole group. Whereas, there's many more men that have been relieved of command. There's many more men that have done, criminal acts than women. But if one woman gets caught, then it's
a headline.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, it's a headline.
And do they really belong in the service? But nobody asks whether men really belong in the service, right?
Yeah. It's a stain on the whole gender, right?
There were
Or
there were
race,
people who asked me if I belonged in it.
That's a different issue.
Getting back to the gaps in service, is the infrastructure in place to start to address those, or does the infrastructure need to be strengthened?
I was going to say, since 1991, it's gotten better, but we have a long way to go. That's what I personally believe. And I guess it depends on certain places. Like I go to Washington, D.C. and, VA compared to other places. For me, and I advocate for myself, so that kind of helps too.
Yeah.
What about the women that can't advocate for themselves or don't know how? So I definitely advocate for myself. So I think we can do better. Honestly, we can do better. We serve, we work just as hard, we're just as dedicated to this country as any male.
So from the standpoint of newer facilities that are becoming available, that's nice, right? But again, it's kind of the content, right? And one of the or some of the things with the older buildings, right, is just the fact that they didn't accommodate women from the standpoint of privacy, even like equal bathrooms and stuff like that. Just because it's they're older buildings, they're older structures. So that, yes, but I think that the comment that I've heard from the VA is we don't have enough women to justify a full-time equivalent gynecologist. So any woman, if you go to the wrong place that has lower, so I think one of the things that we can do is we can increase the number of women that seek care at the VA, so the VA can see, so we're more visible. The VA can see that there are women that are not only willing to go to the VA, but can be satisfied with the service that they obtain there.
Right. So we're very fortunate here. We have a community-based outpatient clinic.
Yeah.
It's relatively new. Been there for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Are they equipped to address the needs of women, or do they have to send them to the VA hospital either in D.C. or in Frederick?
Well, I've never been there because I go to the DC.
I go to DC VA
or Bethesda.
Yeah.
But however, I have been to the site because with the Maryland Reserve Medical Corps, I actually vaccinate people in the clinic across the way. And so I've actually visited the VA. And one of the things I would say is that there's the phone calls go to the main VA and then get triaged back out. So it didn't seem to me like it was, kind of user-friendly in order to get an appointment there. Because it's much closer to me. I would rather go someplace for, immunizations or medications or whatever, primary care. I would rather go there than perhaps to the, all the way down to the DC VA, right? So it would be nice to be able to make an appointment at your CBOC, the one that serves you. But they also don't have a gynecologist.
Actually, I'm headed there later this afternoon, as soon as this is over.
Okay.
I think we've addressed pieces of the next question, but it's really a prioritization question. Are there key areas that the VA should focus on to improve its women's health services? I know you said the gynecological services. Are there any others?
Yeah, I would say things like, marriage, marriage counseling, issues of daycare, issues of, leaving the military and how to, properly get back in the civilian world, I guess. Education, children, how to have that balance of, I'm a soldier, I'm a wife, I'm trying to go to school. So things like, I would say things like that would definitely help, and being, I guess, for women, being comfortable talking about it and not feeling shamed or feeling like, you did something wrong, just feeling comfortable and being, creating that atmosphere.
And you know what, the other thing is that female service members are disproportionately dual military couples, right? So we both actually are married to other active duty people. So our needs may be different than the general population. And so, when we go to a quote unquote, support group or whatever, unless it's other veterans that served like we did, it's not really relevant. There's a plethora of nonprofits that want to tell us what we need, and that's not what we need.
Yeah.
We need more from each other, I think.
Absolutely.
And we need to be able to find each other.
Yeah.
Well, and certainly there are with the two of you, there's a good voice out there to tell them. Okay, we are about to run out of time. So are there any final points that you would like to make?
Right. So I do have one final point to make, and that is I think that the VA is on the right path in terms of recognizing women. They do need to accelerate some of the services that they're offering. But one of the things, in order to get this culturally proficient care, I think that we really need to look at the procurement, because there's a disconnect between subject matter experts and how contracts are let. And so you get more of the same stuff over and over again that aren't meeting the needs of women, as opposed to finding those things that are.
Jamila?
And then for me, just, having a place, a safe space, to be, and, having, qualified physicians to actively listen and with all our needs, and, that would definitely help out.
Okay, well, we are so grateful for the two of you coming here, again, sharing your time and expertise. But we have so much we still need to talk about when it comes to women serving in the military, but unfortunately, we're out of time. So, again, and thank you for being on the Commission on Veterans Affairs, because your inputs have been invaluable. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us. Thank you.
I am Michael Subin, and be sure to join us for future shows that impact people who serve their country in the military. You'll find us right here on County Cable Montgomery.